Hello! Including today, I have 90 days until the end of May, which is my goal for finishing Draft 2. Within those 90 days, I have 84 segments of story that I'm still trying to address. The segments being either scenes that mostly existed in Draft 1 and connective tissue which did not exist in Draft 1 at all. I'm going based off an outline. There are 55 scenes in my outline, and I'm assuming there are connective tissue between each scene. And you may be thinking, in your last video you had far more than 90 days to get this done. And that is because I took an intentional one-day break and it turned into like a week-long unintentional break. Which is the thing about taking breaks from writing. So unfortunately, it has been, I don't even know how many days since I've written, which is going to make it a little bit harder to get into the writing today because I'm not feeling good about writing, but I need to get back into it because I only have 90 days left and 84 segments of story. And I know that in the final third of the book, all of the scenes and all of the connective tissue are going to have to be written new from scratch because I completely scrapped and re-outlined the final third of this book between Draft 1 and Draft 2. So we're going to need some time for leeway, and so far I've wasted literally like a week of leeway by just not being able to write for the past however many days. After my one day of intentional break, I was feeling good, but then I couldn't get myself to start again, and then every day that I couldn't get myself to start again, I started feeling less and less and less good, until today, where I feel like just actively bad about writing, which very much counteracts any benefit I got from taking that one day intentional break. So, that's where we are. So I had left off about to begin scene 20, the connective tissue before scene 20, but I've actually decided to put a little red dot on my chart of scenes that I'm using to keep track of my progress in Draft 2, because scene 19 is the first scene where the main character and the primary antagonist really need to interact. I don't know how to have them interact yet because I'm going to have a whole draft for their relationship, and since I don't have that set in stone, I'm just going to have to leave them not interacting in that scene, even though I know they need to. So I'm putting a little red dot there, knowing that I'm going to have to come back and address it. It's not like done the way that I'm hoping the rest of Draft 2 will feel done. Even though, I mean, obviously there's going to have to be many future drafts. Because even though I'm hoping Draft 2, when it's done, will be like a complete readable draft with all of the scenes that need to existing and all of the connective tissue existing, I'm not expecting it to be like a good quality story yet, and I need to keep telling myself that. Like, I know there's going to need to be a pacing draft, an attention and conflict draft, a passage of time draft, a draft for the main relationship between my main character and the primary antagonist, a tone and a voice draft, and an internal journey for my main character draft. There's going to have to be many edits in the future, so even though I want Draft 2 to be done, I need to tell myself that I'm not expecting it to be good. But I'm still struggling with leaving scene 19 unfinished because I just don't know what to add in for the subplot of my main character's relationship with the primary antagonist. It's just like needling my brain that I've just left that scene unfinished, which is making it more difficult for me to get back into the draft and continue on. But anyway, scene 20 is an amalgamation of parts that I dragged down from earlier in the story. The meat of scene 20 used to be happening, I think, up in scene 12, and I just dragged all of those parts down here to scene 20 and left them there, so right now it's still just a bunch of pieces that need to become a scene. Right now those pieces are 2,017 words long, and it's unfortunate because it's really just like an amalgamation of parts that I still need to like structure into a scene, and that's really quite an intimidating place to come back to a draft after taking a week-long unintentional break away from it. So I'm feeling not enthusiastic about my writing potential today, and I'm really not sure how to begin tackling this scene, which just isn't good because I need to be making progress, and even though I'm actively filming, I'm not actively feeling like in the headspace where I can be making progress. So we're not sure what's going to be happening, but I need to try, so I'm trying to start this vlog so that I can start trying to tackle this scene and move forward with Draft 2. So all in all, I'm not feeling good. I'm really not feeling good about where I am in the story or my possibility of writing today at all, even though I need to. So also, during this past week of unintentional break, I haven't been walking 2 miles on the treadmill or reading 40 pages. I've just been like in a stuck place entirely, and part of that is because this book that I had been reading. It is a craft book about writing. It's a collection of 7 essays, and the first essay is so good, but then it becomes like so technical and like it's really in the technicalities of writing, and it started feeling like a textbook, and I didn't want to be reading a textbook, and so I just stopped reading altogether. And it's just not good, and I'm not even sure if today is the day where I should be trying to start doing all of these things again. Writing, reading, and walking 2 miles, just because I'm so tired and I'm just so feeling not good, and I'm just feeling like stuck and overwhelmed, and I don't know what to do, and I don't know what to do. Alright, it is now 3 days later. I should not have tried writing on that last day. I was watching that last clip. I could barely keep my eyes open. I suffer sometimes from what I call catastrophic fatigue, which when it comes, it's like this obviously crushing fatigue, but then also gets blanketed by this nihilistic doubt about anything even mattering anymore, and like why even try, and I can't even get myself to be motivated to even do like the smallest of thing. And so the catastrophic fatigue really got to me there for a while. And I'm sorry about that. So those last couple of clips, I was not doing well. But it's now 3 days later and I'm feeling better. I'm not feeling like great, but I'm definitely feeling better. My eyes are open. In case you're concerned, I have actually in the past gone to the doctor for this catastrophic fatigue that I suffer with. And at the time they said I had a vitamin D deficiency. And I have found that taking vitamin D does not completely eradicate my catastrophic fatigue, but I definitely think it helps mitigate it some. So there's that. It hasn't been all completely useless though. That first day, the first of the last 3 days, completely useless. But then I did end up working on scene 20 and scene 21 for draft 2, which is good. I'm now about to begin the connective tissue between scene 21 and scene 22. So I currently have 79 segments of story left in draft 2, scenes and connective tissue in my outline that I need to address, and I have 87 days until the end of May, which is my goal to complete them. I am quickly blowing through my leeway days, but you know, it is what it is. I can't do anything when the catastrophic fatigue comes. I don't know. I don't know. But because of that, I also haven't been walking my 2 miles on the treadmill, nor have I been reading, and I would like to begin doing both again. So hopefully today I can do all 3 things: walk 2 miles, read 40 pages, and work on my draft 2, but I'm not sure if I'll actually be able to do all 3 of those today. Perhaps I should start a little bit slow and ease my way back into my goals after that bout of catastrophic fatigue. I do, however, have 2 new Fiverr orders, which is good. I really love editing fiction for people on Fiverr. And so yesterday I was able to get through most of one, I would say over half, but I'm not quite done with it. And then I haven't even started the second order yet. So I do have those to work on. So that will be something to work on too in the midst of me trying to accomplish these 3 daily goals that I set for myself at the beginning of the year. And then I absolutely gave up on, however many days ago it was that I started this bout of catastrophic fatigue. So I haven't read scene 22 yet, but I know from my outline that the next several scenes, starting with scene 22, don't have a very good cause. Like, they seem to just happen because the plot needs them to happen. And when I was developing my outline, I didn't incorporate a good cause for this series of scenes because I felt like I could do that later, and it wasn't like a structural beat like the Pillars of the Mystery. And now that I've reached these scenes, I recognize that they don't have a good enough cause, but I don't know what that cause could be. And so instead of getting stuck forever, because this looming knowledge that these scenes don't have good cause has been kind of weighing on me for these last couple of weeks. So I'm just going to continue on draft 2, working through these scenes as if the cause is there. And then later on in a future draft, hopefully I will get a better idea about how to more bulk up the cause for these scenes so that it doesn't feel like it's just happening because the plot needs it to happen. And like, maybe that should be something I should know now, but it's just not. And so I'm not going to beat myself up about it. And I'm just going to tell myself that later in future drafts, I will be able to work in an appropriate cause for these scenes. I'm just going to make a note in the outline and in the draft that these scenes need a better cause, and then just continue on with draft 2. I'm not trying to fix everything in draft 2. I'm just trying to make the story exist. Maybe that should have been in draft 1, but in draft 1, I was writing the world, and now I'm writing a story, so that's what we're. Also, while I was writing over these last couple of days, I have been listening to music both times that I was writing, which just feels really good after having gone for like 6 months without listening to music. I do have a writing playlist that I created several years ago, And I have not let myself listen to any of those songs. I won't even open the playlist. If any of those songs were to pop on, I would just skip right over them. So that's still interesting. Because music in general, but especially that writing playlist, like when I listen to it, it makes me feel like I want to write. And then if I don't write while I'm listening, or if the writing goes really poorly, then I start feeling really badly about myself, which is why I stopped listening to music, all those months ago. So I haven't yet been brave enough to open up the writing playlist, but we have been listening to music in general, so that does feel good. It actually does feel quite good. Alright, I just finished that Fiverr order and submitted it, which is good. The second Fiverr order isn't due for several more days, so I don't have to start it till tomorrow. I read a little bit. I didn't read 40 pages, but I did read some. I haven't walked on the treadmill yet for my 2 miles. I'm not sure I'm going to. It's about 7 p.m., but we'll see. But I do want to start writing now, so that's what we're gonna do. Alright, it is the next day. Last night I didn't end up walking 2 miles, nor did I finish that piece of connective tissue. I did work on it, but what happened was there were so many pieces of that connective tissue that I had put in this place in the story during previous iterations of draft 2, and I could not figure out how to coalesce them into a coherent piece of writing because the pieces are both different enough that I want to include them, but it also always starts to feel repetitive when I try to put all of those pieces together into one bit. And I could not figure out how to make it work. Nothing I was doing felt right, and I just kept pushing the pieces together and then trying to move them back around, and it was all wrong. It was not good. I got overwhelmed and frustrated, and then eventually I just gave up and went to bed. Which means yesterday I did not finish a segment of the story like it has been my goal. So that's not good because then that essentially counts as a day of leeway, even though I was working on it, but I didn't finish the segment. So my secret goal today is to be able to finish that piece of connective tissue and the following scene so that I can finish 2 segments in one day, but that might be a pipe dream. I don't know yet. My plan for the day is to start out walking 2 miles on the treadmill in the hopes that it gives me kind of a boost of motivation and energy. My hope had always been that by walking 2 miles a day, it would grant me more energy. But I think maybe I haven't been doing it consistently enough or something because I have seen no benefits from walking my 2 miles every day that I have done it. There's been no sustained increase in my energy on the day to day, which had always been my hope. And that has not happened yet. But I'm still gonna do it. I know it's good for me. I know it's not good to just be entirely sedentary. So I'm gonna start out today by walking 2 miles and then hopefully go right into writing so that I can get this chunk of connective tissue squared away, hopefully. I mean, I have no reason to believe that it's going to go easier than it did yesterday because I didn't end on any kind of thought for how I might actually make it work. I'm just beginning again, basically from scratch with the piece of connective tissue. I don't know. I truly don't know what I'm going to do with it, but that's where. So I can't tell if the connective tissue is going better today than it went yesterday. I'm not finished with it yet, but I just keep marking in the margin places where I feel like it's wrong and potential reasons why and potential ways to maybe fix it in the hopes that when I come back to this scene in future drafts, this piece of connective tissue, that I'll magically have the solution. So I'm kind of moving through it faster than I was yesterday, but I still can't tell if it's actually any better or not, which doesn't feel great. Alright, it's 9:30 p.m. and I have officially just finished the connective tissue. It's not good at all yet. I mean, it's done for draft 2, but it's not good storytelling. But that means I am now officially able to move on to the actual scene 22. Alright, it's now 12:15 in the morning, and I finally finished scene 22, and also the connective tissue between scenes 22 and 23 already exists for some reason, probably from some previous iteration of draft 2. So I did that too, which means I get to mark off 3 segments of story completed on my list for draft 2. Scene 22 kept giving me problems because I can tell there's this like big logic gap from where the event of the scene starts, and it's just starting because the plot needs it to, and it doesn't really make sense right now. But I just keep telling myself I can fix that later, like when I think of how it can start more naturally, but I don't know, I wasn't feeling good about it. I was been hoping I'd be able to think of that reason now while I'm working on scene 22, but that did not happen. So I ended up just finishing scene 22 for draft 2 as if that logical start for the scene is already there. Even though it's not, and it will have to be put in later. But at least for now, the connective tissue for scene 22, connective tissue after scene 22, all done for draft 2. Please like and subscribe. Also, I do offer fiction editing on Fiverr, anything from short stories or single chapters to whole novels. If anybody has a story out there that they'd like for me to look at, please check out the link in the description box below. Thank you!